Hey everyone, hope you had a great start to your week. Today we are reading The Gods of Pegana by Lord Dunsany. Dunsany. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that. So let us hop over to the reading section. I need my glasses. There we go. Alright. Let me bump the background music just a little. That should be good. Okay. I know nothing about this, other than it was recommended to me by the Crypt Master, and he has exceedingly good taste for being a lich, but you know. Look, liches are assholes, and you can't trust them unless they're the ones that raised you, but taste in books you can generally trust, as long as it's not into magical tomes or anything. I do know that this is a author who was writing, I believe this was written at the end of the 19th century. Around like 1880 to 1890 something. Because I think this is one of his earlier works. And this is a collection of short, what would you call them? Vignettes? Not poems. Short stories, even shorter than short stories. I think each that I glanced through without reading it just to do my obligatory public domain search for words that need to be censored out and replaced with gentlemen. Didn't find any. But this appears to be a collection of short stories that slowly piece together a fictional mythology, which, if you know anything about Tolkien and his inspiration and why he wrote his Lord of the Rings saga, that should sound familiar to you. So I have a theory. I haven't done any research on it yet, but my theory is that Lord Dunsany was a major influence on Tolkien just from the summary that I read of his works. I always try to go into these blind, just so we have more fun with an authentic live reaction to them. But I did a little cursory summary just to make sure it'd be like a topic that's interesting to read. But that's enough preambling. Let us begin with the end. The uncopyright page. Because I saw this page when I was going through, and it hit a chord with me, so I want to read it real quick. Uncopyright. May you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you, among other things, that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the U.S. public domain. The U.S. public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the U.S. to do almost anything at all without having to get permission. I just thought that was a nice little thing to put at the end of the book I assume they're volunteers who got this copy up. But I like that they talk about public domain being our collective cultural heritage. Because that hit a chord with me, I just want to share that. Now let's start with the real story. The Lords of Pegana. I suspect, because this is written way before mass media, that Pegana is an allusion to to paganism, which would line up with this being a fictional mythology of deities. That's my theory on why the name Pegana was chosen. If you know how to pronounce that word, let me know. I'm assuming it's Pegana. I have no idea. Alright. Let us begin. Oh, that's cute. Dedicated to Lady Dunsany. Preface. There be islands in the central sea, whose waters are bounded by no shore, and where no ships come. This is the faith of their people. In the mist before the beginning, fate and chance cast lots to decide whose the game should be. And he that won strode through the mist to Manayud Sushai. Look, that was a lot easier than the last week's words, so I'm okay with Manayud Sushai. It sounds like a coherent word. I don't know what the funny accents mean, but I'm okay with it. And he that won strode through the mist to Manayud Sushai and said, "Now make gods for me, for I have won the cast, and the game is to be mine." Who it was that won the cast, and whether it was fate or whether chance that went through the mist before beginning to Manayud Sushai, none knoweth. That was a charming preface. I'm glad I didn't read that before now. I like that. I like that it puts fate and chance as personified entities above gods. Because normally, here in the West, we always consider gods coming from the perspective of our capital G God, who is just all-knowing, all-being, all-powerful. But this takes a different look at them, where it says, hey, there's actually something above gods. Fate and chance, and I like that. I like that. I guess Manayud Sushai is a creator deity, maybe? Let's find out. Oh, introduction. After the preface. Before there stood gods upon Olympus, wherever Allah was Allah, had wrought and rested Manayud Sushai. There are in Pegana Mung, in Sish and Kib, and the maker of all small gods, who is Manayud Sushai. Moreover, we have a faith in Roon and Slid. And it has been said of old that all things that have been were wrought by the small gods, excepting only Manayud Sushai, who made the gods and hath thereafter rested. And none may pray to Manayud Sushai, but only the gods whom he hath made. But at the last will Manayud Sushai forget to rest, and will make again new gods in other worlds. And he will destroy the gods whom he hath made. And the gods in the worlds shall depart, and there shall only be Manayud Sushai. Okay, so Manayud Sushai is a creation being above the deities, who is not a god to be worshipped. I wonder if that's where, I take a sip of tea. I wonder if that's where, Dungeons and Dragons got their all-god, Ao? I think it's, if I remember right, it's spelled A-O. And he's a god who is above all the other gods and doesn't reciprocate any prayer or anything. Because that sounds exactly like him, almost. I mean, from what we know, which is nothing. But, anyways. Our first deity, I guess, of Skarl the Drummer. When Manayud Sushai had made the gods in Skarl, Skarl made a drum, and began to beat upon it, that he might drum forever. I mean, sometimes a man just wants to drum. I feel it. Then, because he was weary after the making of the gods, and because of the drumming of Skarl, did Manayud Sushai grow drowsy and fall asleep. And there fell a hush upon the gods, when they saw that Mana rested. And there was silence on Pegana, save for the drumming of Skarl. Skarl sitteth upon the mist, before the feet of Manayud Sushai, above the gods of Pegana, and there he beateth his drum. Some say that the worlds and the suns are but the echoes of the drumming of Skarl. And others say that they be dreams that arise in the mind of Mana, because of the drumming of Skarl, as one may dream, whose rest is troubled by sound of song. But none knoweth, for who hath heard the voice of Manayud Sushai, or who hath seen his drummer? Whether the season be winter, or whether it be summer, Whether it be morning among the worlds, or whether it be night, Skarl still beateth his drum. For the purposes of the gods are not yet fulfilled. Sit up a little. Sometimes the arm of Skarl grows weary, but he still beateth his drum, that the gods may do the work of the gods. But first there. And the worlds go on. For if he cease for an instant, the men of Yud-Sushai shall start awake, and there will be worlds nor gods no more. But when at last the arm of Skarl shall cease to beat his drum, silence shall startle Pegana like thunder in a cave, and man of Yud-Sushai shall cease to rest. Then shall Skarl put his drum upon his back and walk forth into the void beyond the worlds, because it is the end, and the work of Skarl is over. There may arise some other god whom Skarl may serve, or it may be that he shall perish, but to Skarl it shall matter not, for he shall have done the work of Skarl. I like that. That is a really succinct and direct, but very good start to open up this pantheon. And that idea that he's just chilling and beating his drum to keep Mana Yud-Sushai asleep, not because he doesn't want everything destroyed, but because he wants the rest of the gods to do their damn work. I like that. Because it doesn't sound like it matters to Skarl whether or not everything is destroyed. It just matters that the work of the gods is done. That's my interpretation of Skarl. He sounds like a chill dude. Should we do a rating of the gods? I think that would be better for a stream after, once we do all the gods, and we can go back and rate them. I think that'd be a good idea. That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down after this. Skarl the Drummer. I like him. He's a cool dude. Would pray. Of the making of the worlds. When Mana Yud-Sushai had made the gods, there were only the gods, and they sat in the middle of time. For there was as much time before them as behind them, which having no end had neither a beginning. And Pegana was without heat or light or sound, save for the drumming of Skarl. Moreover, Pegana was the middle of all. Like Middle-earth. Yeah? This might be Middle-earth. Not literally Middle-earth, because obviously this is before Tolkien. But it sounded like this might be where he got Middle-earth from. For there was below Pegana what there was above it, and there lay before it that which lay beyond. Then said the gods, making the signs of the gods, and speaking with their hands, lest the silence of Pegana should blush. Then said the gods to one another, speaking with their hands, let us make worlds to amuse ourselves while Mana rests. Let us make worlds in life and death, in colors in the sky. Only let us not break the silence upon Pegana. Then raising their hands, each god according to his sign, they made the worlds and the suns, and put a light in the houses of the sky. Then said the gods, let us make one to seek, and never to find out concerning the wherefore of the making of the gods. And they made by the lifting of their hands, each god according to his sign. The bright one, with the flaring tail, to seek from the end of the worlds to the end of them again, to return again after 100 years. Man, when thou seest the comet, know that another seeketh besides thee, nor ever findeth out. Good tea. Then said the gods, still speaking with their hands, let there be now a watcher to regard. And they made the moon, with his face wrinkled with many mountains, and worn with 1,000 valleys. That's cute. This is before. Well, they had telescopes back then, because telescopes are ancient too. But I don't know. they would have been able to determine that the moon is mostly just cratered as shit. I like that though. That's cute. Worn with 1,000 valleys, to regard with pale eyes the games of the small gods, and to watch throughout the resting time of Mana Yud Zushai, to watch, to regard all things, and be silent. Then said the gods, let us make one to rest, one not to move among the moving. One not to seek like the comet, nor to go round like the worlds, to rest while Mana rests. And they made the star of the abiding and set it in the north. Man, when thou seest the star of the abiding to the north, know that one resteth as doth Mana Yud Zushai, and know that somewhere among the worlds is rest. Lastly, the gods said, we have made worlds and suns, and one to seek and another to regard. Let us now make one to wonder. And they made earth to wonder, each god by the uplifting of his hand according to his sign, and earth was. That's charming. That is such a not good take on a creation story. Because these days, it's like, oh, you gotta have one good god, one bad god, and maybe you'll have one in the middle, ooh. But no, these are just all the gods, just there like, hey, this is boring. Let's make something. Let's get shit done. And it's like, alright, we can't wake up the boss man, but we can make some good shit. That's just a really cool creation story. It still managed to have some drama. Not a lot, but it still managed to have some drama going through it with Mana Yud Zushai being asleep. Because they can't wake him up. And that implies that that could be why gods don't talk to humanity. Because they can't wake up Mana Yud Zushai. I like that. I am really glad I chose to read Lord Dunsany. This is awesome. Each page, I'm liking this more and more. I gotta thank the Crypt Master for this recommendation. Of the Game of the Gods. 1,000,000 years passed over the first Game of the Gods, and Mana Yud Zushai still arrested, still in the middle of time, and the gods still played with the worlds. The moon regarded, and the bright ones saw it, and returned again to his seeking. Then Kib grew weary of the first Game of the Gods, and raised his hand in Pegana, making the sign of Kib, and earth became covered with beasts for Kib to play with, and Kib played with the beasts. He just wanted pets. But the other gods said to one another, speaking with their hands, what is it that Kib has done? And they said to Kib, what are these things that move upon the earth, yet move not in circles like the worlds, that regard like the moon, and yet they do not shine? And Kib said, this is life. But the gods said to one another, if Kib has thus made beasts, he will in time make men, and he will endanger the secret of the gods. And Mung was jealous of the work of Kib, and sent down death among the beasts, but could not stamp them out. 1,000,000 years passed over the second Game of the Gods, and still it was the middle of time. And Kib grew weary of the second game, and raised his hand in the middle of all, making the sign of Kib, and made men. Out of beasts he made them, and earth was covered with men. Then the gods feared greatly for the secret of the gods, and set a veil between man and his ignorance, that he might not understand. And Mung was busy among men. But when other gods saw Kib playing his new game, they came and played it too. And this they will play until Mana arises to rebuke them, saying, what do ye playing with worlds and suns and men and life and death? And they shall be ashamed of their playing in the hour of the laughter of Mana Yud Zushai. It was Kib who first broke the silence of Pegana by speaking with his mouth like a man. And all the other gods were angry with Kib that he had spoken with his mouth, and there was no longer silence in Pegana or the worlds. That was good. Kib. I like Kib. He's a shit starter. He's a provoker. He provoked this. He disturbed the silence to create life. He knew what could be done more than just making the worlds and led the other deities to that. I like that. Mung. Is Mung new? There was a couple other gods that were mentioned earlier. In this Skarl section, I think. Or before. Yeah. Roon, Mung, Sish, and Kib. And Roon and Slid. So there's less than 10, it sounds like. But there may be the lesser gods, too. I'm not sure if these are the lesser gods. The Chaunt? Can't? I want to Google that, just so I know what it means. Because I like this enough. Chant meaning. Obsolete spelling of chant. Okay. That's what I figured. The chant of the gods. There came the voice of the gods, singing the chant of the gods, singing, "We are the gods. We are the little games of Mana Yud Sushai, that he hath played and hath forgotten. Mana Yud Sushai hath made us, and we made the worlds and the suns. And we shall play with the worlds and the sun and life and death until Mana rises to rebuke us, saying, What do ye playing with worlds and suns?" It is a very serious thing that there be worlds and suns, and yet most withering is the laughter of Mana Yud Sushai. And when he arises from resting at the last, and laughs at us for playing with worlds and suns, we will hastily put them behind us, and there will be worlds no more. That's more interesting. So why is that specifically the chant of the gods? Is it them reaffirming to themselves and mankind that there is a definite end coming, eventually, and it's inevitable? That they can't enjoy their games too much because they know they have to end? So that could be, in this fictional mythology, a reflection of humanity and death. Okay, I dig that. The Sayings of Kib, Cinder of Life in all the worlds. Kib likes saying his name. Kib said, I am Kib. I am none other than Kib. Kib is Kib. Kib is he and no other. Believe. Kib said, when time was early, when time was very early indeed, there is only Mana Yud Sushai. Mana Yud Sushai was before the beginning of the gods, and shall be after the going. And Kib said, after the going of the gods, there be no small worlds, nor big. Kib said, it will be lonely for Mana Yud Sushai. Because this is written, believe, for it is it not written, or are you greater than Kib? Kib is Kib. Okay. That one fell a little flat on me. Let me think about this one. Kib is the cinder of life in all the worlds. Most of this seems redundant to what we've already seen. Kib is saying that it will be lonely for Mana Yud Sushai, but he can't know that because he won't be there when he is projecting how he feels on Mana Yud Sushai. But Kib is reaffirming that another reaffirmation that it's all going to end, even though he is the center of life. Okay, I picked some meaning out of that. I feel like there should be more that I'm not getting, but I'm gonna move on because Kib is Kib. It's some characterization. Kib is a little simple. That's fine. Oh boy, here's Sish. Concerning Sish, the destroyer of hours. Time is the hound of Sish. At Sish's bidding do the hours run before him as he goeth upon his way. Never hath Sish stepped backward, nor ever hath he tarried. Never hath he relented to the things that once he knew, nor turned to them again. Before Sish is Kib, and behind him goeth Mung. Very pleasant are all things before the face of Sish, but behind him they are withered and old. And Sish goeth ceaselessly upon his way. Once the gods walked upon earth as men walk, and spake with their mouths like men. That was in Yoharneth-Lahai. They walk not now. In Yoharneth-Lahai was a garden fairer than all the gardens upon earth. Kib was propitious, and Mung raised not his hand against it. Neither did Sish assail it with his hours. Yoharneth-Lahai lieth in a valley, and looketh towards the south, and on the slopes of it Sish rested among the flowers when Sish was young. Thence Sish went forth into the world to destroy its cities, and to provoke his hours to assail all things, and to batter against them with the rust and with the dust. In time, which is the hound of Sish, devoured all things. And Sish sent up the ivy and fostered weeds, and dust fell from the hand of Sish and covered stately things. Only the valley where Sish rested when he and Time were young did Sish not provoke his hours to assail. There he restrained his old hound Time, and at its borders Mung withheld his footsteps. Yoharneth-Lahai still lieth looking towards the south, a garden among gardens, and still the flowers grow about its slope as they grew when the gods were young, and even the butterflies live in Yoharneth-Lahai still. For the minds of the gods relent towards their earliest memories, who relent not otherwise at all. Yoharneth-Lahai still lieth looking towards the south, but if thou shouldst ever find it, thou art then more fortunate than the gods, because they walk not in Yoharneth-Lahai now. Once did the prophet think that he discerned it in the distance beyond the mountains, a garden exceeding fair with flowers, but Sish arose and pointed with his hand and set his hound to pursue him. Excuse me, who hath followed ever since. Time is the hound of the gods, but it hath been said of old that he will one day turn upon his masters and seek to slay the gods, excepting only Mana-Yud-Sushai, whose dreams are the gods themselves, dreamed long ago. Okay. I like that Sish is a destroyer deity, but not in the traditional sense that we think of in the modern day, because he's not blowing shit up, he's just time. And this is time. He is the persona. Well, no, because time has been capital time. Time is the hound of Sish. So Sish is not time, but he uses time and controls it. And Sish is neither, he's only present. He is neither future nor past. That's very cool. Okay. The Sayings of Slid, whose soul is by the great sea. Slid said, "Let no man pray to Mana-Yud-Sushai, for who shall trouble Mana with mortal woes, or irk him with the sorrows of all the houses of earth? Nor let any sacrifice to Mana-Yud-Sushai, for what glory shall he find in sacrifices or altars, who hath made the gods themselves? Pray to the small gods, who are the gods of doing, but Mana is the god of having done, the god of having done, and of the resting. Pray to the small gods, and hope that they may hear thee. Yet what mercy should the small gods have, who themselves made death and pain? Or shall they restrain their old hound Time for thee? Slid is but a small god, yet Slid is Slid. It is written, and hath been said. Pray thou, therefore, to Slid, and forget not Slid, and it may be that Slid will not forget to send thee death when thou most needest it." Huh. Interesting take on death. And the people of Earth said, "There is a melody upon the earth, as though 10,000 streams all sang together for their homes that they had forsaken in the hills." And Slid said, "I am the Lord of gliding waters, and of foaming waters, and of still. I am the Lord of the waters in the world, and all that long streams garner in the hills. But the soul of Slid is in the sea, thither goeth all that glides upon earth, and the end of all the rivers is the sea." And Slid said, "The hand of Slid hath toyed with the cataracts, and down the valleys have trod the feet of Slid, and out of the lakes and the plains regard the eyes of Slid. But the soul of Slid is in the sea. Much homage hath Slid among the cities of man, and pleasant are the woodland paths and the paths of the plains, and pleasant the high valleys where he danceth in the hills. But Slid would be fettered neither by banks nor boundaries, so the soul of Slid is in the sea. For there may be Slid repose beneath the sun, and smile at the gods above him, with all the smiles of Slid, and be a happier god than those who sway the worlds." Is that one single phrase? Who would they be? Whose work is life and death? Oh, I should have read the next part. There may he sit and smile, or creep among the ships, or moan and sigh around islands in his great continent, the miser lord of wealth and gems and pearls, beyond the telling of all fables. Or there may he, when Slid would fain exult, throw up his great arms, or toss with many a fathom of wondering hair the mighty head of Slid, and cry aloud tumultuous dirges of shipwreck, and feel through all his being the crashing might of Slid, and sway the sea. Then doth the sea, like venturious legions, on the eve of war that exult to acclaim their chief, gather its force together from all the winds and roar, and follow and sing and crash together, to vanquish all things, and all at the bidding of Slid, whose soul is in the sea. There is ease in the soul of Slid, and there be calms upon the sea. Also, there be storms upon the sea, and troubles in the soul of Slid. For the gods have many moods, and Slid is in many places, for he sitteth in high Pegana, and also along the valleys walketh Slid, wherever water moveth or lieth still. But the voice and the cry of Slid are from the sea, and to whoever that cry hath ever come, he must needs follow and follow, leaving all stable things, only to be always with Slid, in all the moods of Slid, to find no rest until he reaches the sea. With the cry of Slid before them, and the hills of their homes behind, have gone 100,000 to the sea, over whose bones doth Slid lament, with the voice of a god lamenting for his people. Even the streams from the inner lands have heard Slid's far-off cry, and altogether have forsaken lawns and trees to follow where Slid is gathering up his own, to rejoice where Slid rejoices, singing the chant of Slid, even as will at the last gather all the lives of people about the feet of Mana Yud Zushai. Slid is complicated. That's the longest passage so far. So Slid is the water god, effectively, to simplify it too much. He's also called the god of death, and he sends it when you need it most. Interesting. I hope we hear more about Slid to clarify some of that. The Deeds of Mung, Lord of all deaths between Pegana and the Rim. Oh, is this a flat earth mythology? Once, as Mung went his way athwart, I guess that means across, athwart the earth and up and down its cities and across its plains, Mung came upon a man who was afraid when Mung said, "I am Mung." And Mung said, "Were the 40 million years before thy coming intolerable to thee?" And Mung said, "Not less terrible to thee shall be the 40 million years to come." Then Mung made against him the sign of Mung, and the life of man was fettered no longer with hands and feet. At the end of the flight of the arrow there is Mung, and in the houses in the cities of men, Mung walketh in all places at all time. But mostly he loves to walk in the dark and still, along the river mists when the wind hath sank, a little before night meeteth with the morning upon the highway between Pegana and the worlds. Sometimes Mung entereth the poor man's cottage. Mung also boweth very low before the king. Then do the lives of the poor man and of the king go forth among the worlds. Ah, that's a euphemism for Mung bringing death to them. Okay, so death is a uniter. Interesting. And Mung said, Many turning hath the road that Kib hath given every man to tread upon the earth. Behind one of these turnings sitteth Mung. One day, as a man trod upon the road that Kib had giveth him to tread, he came suddenly upon Mung. And when Mung said, I am Mung! The man cried out, Alas, that I took this road, for I had gone by any other way than had I not met with Mung. And Mung said, Had it been possible for thee to go by any other way, then had the scheme of things been otherwise. And the gods had been other gods. When Mana Yudzashai forgets to rest and makes again new gods, it may be that they will send thee again into the worlds, and then thou mayest choose some other way, and not meet with Mung. He's a jump scare artist. Then Mung made the sign of Mung, and the life of that man went forth with the yesterday's regrets, and all old sorrows and forgotten things, whither Mung knoweth. And Mung went onward with his work to sunder life from flesh. And Mung came upon a man who became stricken with sorrow when he saw the shadow of Mung. But Mung said, When at the sight of Mung thy life shall float away, there will also disappear thy sorrow at forsaking it. But the man cried out, O Mung, tarry for a little, and make not the sight of Mung against me now. For I have a family upon the earth with whom sorrow will remain, though mine should disappear because of the sight of Mung. And Mung said, With the gods it is always now, and before Sish hath banished many of the years, the sorrows of thy family for thee shall go the way of thine. And the man beheld Mung making the sign of Mung before his eyes, which beheld things no more. I like Mung more than, what was it? Slid? Mung is a jump scare artist, but I like his representation of death, which is also confusing me a little because Slid was considered death. So maybe all the gods are death in their own way? I'm not sure. But this was also implying it at one point that all the gods are also exclusively present. Neither past nor future. The Deeds of Mung. Wait, did we read this one? Yeah, we read this one. The Chant of the Priests. This is the chant of the priests. The chant of the priests of Mung. This is the chant of the priests. All day long to Mung cry out the priests of Mung. And yet Mung hearkeneth not. What then shall avail the prayers of all the people? Rather bring gifts to the priests, a gift to the priests of Mung. So they shall cry louder unto Mung than ever was their wont. And it may be that Mung shall hear. Not any longer shall fall the shadow of Mung athwart the hopes of the people. Not any longer shall the tread of Mung darken the dreams of the people. Not any longer shall the lives of the people be loosened because of Mung. Bring ye gifts to the priests, gifts to the priests of Mung. This is the chant of the priests. The chant of the priests of Mung. This is the chant of the priests. My first thought is that this is... because in the Christian tradition, it's pretty well known that, like, politics of Christendom determine which books are considered canon in the Bible, both Old and New Testament. And I bring that up because this is not to cast shade at Christianity, but this sounds like something that the priests themselves would cook up. Which brings into question the trustworthy of the narrator of the gods of Pegana. So it's currently unknown if the writer of this book is the gods themselves or if it's man who wrote this. Which I kind of doubt we'll find out. But that was my first thought with this, that it's a little too self-serving to be something that gods would set up. Gods wouldn't give a damn. Mung wouldn't care. I don't think so. Doesn't sound like Mung would. Mung is Mung. He is Mung. I'll just jump scare you. Alright. The Sayings of Limpang-Tung, the god of mirth and of melodious minstrels. Alright, here's our party god. In Limpang-Tung said, "The ways of the gods are strange, and flower groweth upon the flower fadeth away. This may be very clever of the gods. Man groweth from his infancy, and in a while he dieth. This may be very clever too." Excuse the mic sounds, I gotta move it. Okay. Give me. But the gods play with a strange scheme. I shall send jest into the world and a little mirth, and while death seems to thee as far away as the purple rim of hills, or sorrow as far off as rain in the blue days of summer, then pray to Limpang-Tung, for when thou growest old, or ere thou diest, pray not of Limpang-Tung, for thou becomest part of a scheme that he doth not understand. Go out into the starry night, and Limpang-Tung will dance with thee, who danced since the gods were young, the god of mirth and of melodious minstrels. Or offer up a jest to Limpang-Tung, only pray not in thy sorrow to Limpang-Tung, for he saith of sorrow, "It may be very clever of the gods, but he doth not understand." And Limpang-Tung said, "I am lesser than the gods. Pray therefore to small gods, and not to Limpang-Tung." Sorry, mic sounds. Nevertheless, I assume nevertheless. But nevertheless, between Pegana and the earth flutter 10,000 prayers that beat their wings against the face of death, and never for one of them hath the hand of the striker been stayed, nor yet have tarried the feet of the relentless one. Not sure if we met him yet. Utter thy prayer, it may accomplish where it filled 10,000,000. Limpang-Tung is lesser than the gods, and doth not understand. And Limpang-Tung said, "Lest man grow weary down on the great roads, through the grazing always at a changeless sky, I will paint my pictures in the sky, and I will paint them twice in every day, for so long as the day shall be. Once, as the day ariseth out of the homes of dawn, I will paint the blue, that men may see and rejoice, and ere day falls into the night will I paint upon the blue again, lest men be sad." It is a little, said Limpang-Tung, it is a little even for a god to give some pleasure to men upon the worlds. And Limpang-Tung hath sworn that the pictures that he paints shall never be the same, for so long as the day shall be, and this he hath sworn by the oath of the gods of Pegana, the gods may never break, laying his head upon the shoulder of each of the gods, and swearing by the light behind their eyes. Limpang-Tung hath lured a melody out of the stream and stolen its anthem from the forest. For him, the wind hath cried in lonely places, and the ocean sung its dirges. There is music for Limpang-Tung in the thousands of the moving grass, and in the voices of the people they lament, or in the cry of them that rejoice. In an inner mountain land, where none hath come, he hath carved his organ pipes out of the mountains. And there, when the winds, his servants, come in from all the world, he maketh the melody of Limpang-Tung. But the song, arising at night, goeth forth like a river, winding through all the world, and here and there, amid the peoples of earth, one heareth. Excuse me. And straightway, all that hath voice to sing crieth aloud in music to his soul. Or sometimes, walking through the dusk with steps unheard by men, in a form unseen by the people, Limpang-Tung goeth abroad, and, standing behind the minstrels in the cities of song, waveth his hand above them to and fro, and the minstrels bend to their work, and the voice of the music ariseth, and mirth and melody abound in that city of song. And no one seeth Limpang-Tung as he standeth behind the minstrels. But through the mist towards the morning, in the dark when the minstrels sleep, and mirth and melody have sunk to rest, Limpang-Tung goeth back again to his mountain land. Alright. He's unreliable, which is fitting. He can't offer much except for transient mirth. But he's there with you. He is a... I don't want to say companion because he's not always there for you. He is the friend that comes and goes. As much as a god can be a friend. Of Yoharneth-Lahai, the god of little dreams and fancies. Yoharneth-Lahai is the god of little dreams and fancies. All night he sendeth little dreams out of Pegana to please the people of earth. He sendeth little dreams to the poor man and to the king. He is so busy, he sends his dreams to all before the night, and be ended that oft he forgetteth which be poor man and which be the king. And Yoharneth-Lahai cometh not with little dreams in sleep, he must endure all night the laughter of the gods, with highest mockery in Pegana. All night long, Yoharneth-Lahai giveth peace to cities until the dawn hour, and the departing of Yoharneth-Lahai, when it is time for the gods to play with men again. Whether the dreams and the fancies of Yoharneth-Lahai be false, and the things that are done the day be real, or the things that are done the day be false, and the dreams and the fancies of Yoharneth-Lahai be true, none knoweth, saving only Mene-Yudes-Lahai, who hath not spoken. I like that dynamic a lot with Yoharneth-Lahai. He's separate from the other gods because he's not playing at the same time. He found his own niche, and he's made fun of it by the other gods. But, and I thought about this as I was reading it before we got to the end there, that in the scheme of things, it's all a dream of Mene-Yudes-Lahai, Sushai. So, none of them can really say which one is more real and which one should be laughed at, because it could just as equally be Yoharneth-Lahai, who should be laughing at everyone else during the day. So that's cool. Roll my neck a little. How long is this one? Okay, we'll do this one, and then I'm gonna do some Duolingo. Of Roon, the god of going, and the 1,000 home gods. Roon said, "There be gods of moving, and gods of standing still, but I am the god of going. It is because of Roon that the worlds are never still. For the moons and the worlds and the comet are stirred by the spirit of Roon, which saith, Go, go, go. Roon met with worlds all in the morning of things, before there was light upon Pegana, and Roon danced before them in the void, since when they are never still. Roon sendeth all streams to the sea, and all rivers to the soul of Slid. Roon maketh the sign of Roon before the waters, and lo, they have left the hills, and Roon hath spoken in the ear of the north wind, that he may be still no more. The footfall of Roon hath been heard at evening outside the houses of men, and thenceforth comfort in abiding know them no more. Before them stretcheth travel over all the lands, long miles, and never resting between their homes and their graves, and all at the bidding of Roon. The mountains have set no limit against Roon, nor all the seas his boundary. Whither Roon hath desired, there must Roon people go, and the worlds in their streams and the winds. I heard the whisper of Roon at evening, saying, there are islands of spices to the south, and the voice of Roon saying, go. And Roon said, there are a thousand home gods, little gods that sit before the hearth and mind the fire. There is one Roon. Roon saith in a whisper when none heareth, when the sun is low. What doeth Mana so shy? Roon is no god that thou mayest worship by thy hearth, nor will he be benignant to thy home. I don't know about that word. Obviously it's contrary to malignant, but benignant sounds weird. Offer to Roon thy toiling and thy speed, whose incense is the smoke of the campfire to the south, whose song is the sound of going, whose temples stand beyond the farthest hills and his lands behind the east. Yoharneth, 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 which signifieth beyond. Was it the name of the previous god? No, Yoharneth. Beyond these words be carved in letters of gold upon the arch of the great portal of the temple of Roon, that men have builded, looking towards the east upon the sea, where Roon is carved as a great trumpeter, with his trumpet pointing towards the east beyond the seas. Whoso heareth his voice, the voice of Roon at evening, he at once forsaketh the home gods that sit beside the hearth. These be the gods of the earth. Pitsu, who stroketh the cat. We like Pitsu in this house. Abith, who calms the dog. Huh. I don't remember dogs being associated with hobbits, but that's too close to be a coincidence. Hobbit has to be an allusion to Hobbit, somehow. We might hear more about Hobbit. And Habania, the lord of glowing embers, and little Zumbabu, the lord of dust, and old Graban, who sits in the heart of the fire to turn the wood to ash. And all these be home gods, and live not in Pegana, and be lesser than Roon. There is also Kalulugung. That's the weirdest name so far, Kalulugung. The lord of a rising smoke, who taketh the smoke from the hearth, and send it to the sky. Who is pleased if it reacheth Pegana, so that the gods of Pegana, speaking to the gods, say, there's Kalulugung, doing the work on earth of Kalulugung. All these are gods so small that they be lesser than men, but pleasant gods to have besides the earth. And often men have prayed to Kalulugung, saying, thou whose smoke ascendeth to Pegana, send up with it our prayers, that the gods may hear. And Kalulugung, who is pleased that men should pray, stretches himself up, all grey and lean, with his arms above his head, and sendeth his servant the smoke to seek Pegana, that the gods of Pegana may know that the people pray. We all hate Jabim in this house. And Jabim is the lord of broken things, who sitteth behind the house to lament the things that are cast away. And there he sitteth, lamenting the broken things, until the worlds be ended, or until someone cometh to mend the broken things. Or sometimes he sitteth by the river's edge, to lament the forgotten things that drift upon it. A kindly god is Jabim, whose heart is sore if anything be lost. Okay, I feel a little bad now about saying we don't like Jabim in this house. Jabim's just a sad sack. No one wants to be around him. There's also Tribugi. Tribugi, the lord of dusk, whose children are the shadows, who sitteth in a corner far off from Habania, and speaketh to none. But after Habania hath gone asleep, and old Graban hath blinked 100 times until he forgetteth which be wood or ash, then doth Tribugi send his children to run about the room and dance upon the walls, but never disturb the silence. But when there is light upon the worlds, and dawn comes dancing down the highway from Pegana, then doth Trabugi retire into his corner, with his children all around him, as though they had never danced about the room. And the slaves of Habania and Old Graban come to awake them from their sleep upon the hearth, and Pitsu strokes the cat, and Hobbith calms the dog, and Kalulagung stretches aloft his arms towards Pegana, and Trabugi is very still, and his children asleep. And when it is dark, all in the hour of Trabugi, the hour of Trabugi, Hish creepeth from the forest, the Lord of Silence, whose children are the bats that have broken the command of their father. We don't like bats in this house. Bats suck. But in a voice that is ever so low, Hish husheth the mouse, and all the whispers in the night. He maketh all noises still. Only the cricket rebelleth, but Hish hath set against him such a spell that after he hath cried 1,000 times, his voice may be heard no more, but becometh part of the silence. And when he hath slain all sounds, Hish boweth both low to the ground, and then cometh into the house, with never a sound of feet, the god Yoharneth-Lahai. But away in the forest, whence Hish hath come, Wohoon, the lord of noises in the night, awaketh in his lair, and creepeth around the forest to see whether it be true that Hish hath gone. Then, in some glade, Wohoon lifts up his voice and cries aloud, that all the night might hear, that it is he, Wohoon, who is abroad in all the forest, and the wolf and the fox and the owl, we like owls in this house, and the great beast and the small, lift up their voices to acclaim Wohoon, and there arise the sounds of voices and the stirring of leaves. Okay, that was pretty cute. We like the small gods. Small gods are a lot less annoying than the big gods. Okay, that was up to page 31. Let me make a note of that somewhere before I forget. So we're going to start next Monday with the Revolt of the... Oh my god, no. Some houses burned down. Page 32, Revolt of Home Gods. Alright, that'll be next Monday. Now we are hopping over to Duolingo. So let me turn turbo on. I need to set up my source for Duolingo. 1 second. I really enjoyed that. One thing that I glossed over, and I didn't notice it until I had already moved on to the next story, is that man was made from beasts. So in this mythology, it's not assumed, there's no assumption that man is above beasts. And there's also gods that are below man, which is interesting. Let's see. Browser. To Duolingo. Okay. Over here. And over to here. For Duolingo. Yeah, what's on congrats. Okay. What was I going to say before? Something else I was about to say. Oh yeah, I noticed there's no mention of women yet. Which makes me curious if they have a separate creation for men. Men, I should say, not men. It's equally possible that women in this mythology of the gods of Pegana are just assumed to be part of mankind. Excuse the mic noise. But we don't know yet. Okay, let's start with some German. Which one of these is the man? Der is the man is husband and Frau is wife. So I think Jung. Or man may have a double meaning. Because that looks like a kid. And that's a man.
Der Mann.
I'm gonna guess that man has a double meaning of both husband and man. Yes. Yeah, so that means a kid. Jung. However you pronounce that. Man.
Mann.
Frau then.
Frau.
D. D-I-E is the feminine and der is the masculine then. Okay.
E.
E. I feel like that's gonna be A. Yeah. E?
E. E.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah, that was A.
I.
I. Okay.
E. Der Junge.
Junge.
Der Junge. Der Junge.
Junge?
Der Junge.
Sounds like there's an M after the N.
Der Junge.
Der Junge.
Der Junge.
It really sounds like the voice is saying Der Junge.
Der Junge.
Whatever, man.
Der Mann ist nett.
The man is nice. The man is nice. Der Mann ist nett. Der Junge. Junge ist nett? Because none of these other match up. Yeah.
Nett.
I would have gone with popular or happy, but I don't know.
Der Junge ist nett.
Der Junge ist nett. The boy is nice.
Ist der Junge Lukas?
Ist der Junge Lucas? Is the boy Lucas? Fuck you. Water and coffee, please. 9. Der youngest Peter.
Die Frau ist nett.
The woman or wife. The woman is nice.
Die Frau ist meine Mutter.
Die Frau
ist
meine
Mutter.
The woman is my mother.
Die Frau ist klug.
The woman is smart. The owl. What's the word for hoot? Woman is smart. Die Frau ist klug.
Die Frau ist sehr groß.
Die Frau ist
sehr
groß. Was that it?
groß.
The woman is very tall. We like tall women here. The woman is my mother. Die Frau ist meine Mutter.
Mutter.
Der Mann ist sehr groß. Groß. Yeah. Now let us hop over to Japanese. Oh, I guess that's all of the German course, not just that lesson. Got it. Japanese.
また明日。
Matashita.
また明日。
I don't remember what that means. See you tomorrow. That's right. Kanbanwa is good evening, I think. Bye is John?
じゃあね。
John. I think that's bye.
ケンさん、
Yeah.
また明日。
Ken-san
Matashita.
Matashita. Ken, what was it? Good evening? See you tomorrow. Wait, what? Can I get the drop down? No. I thought see. Okay, whatever. Multiple meanings. Nice to meet you, Naomi. Naomi. Ooh. I think maybe Doyuzo Yoroshiku. Naomi.
どうぞよろしく
San.。
なおさん。
I think that's nice to meet you. Yes.
ナオミさん、じゃあね。
Naomi-san,
ナオミさん、じゃあ
Jane.
ね。
Bye, bitch.
どうぞよろしく。
Nice to meet you. Doyuzo Yoroshiku. I like that progress, because when I first heard that word, I could not say it. And now I'm just rolling it.
じゃあね、また明日。
John
Matashita.
Matashita. Bye, see you tomorrow. Yeah. Ken des. Doyuzo
どうぞ
Yoroshiku.
よろしく。
Konnichiwa.
じゃあね。
Mizu.
くだ
Kudasai.
さい。
Johnny.
じゃあね
Hana. Nope. Wrong one.
花花ですどうぞよろしく
I'm Hannah. Nice to meet you. Hannah des. Doyuzuru Loshiku. What? Oh, nice to meet you tomorrow. I wasn't looking. My bad. See you tomorrow, Ken. Matashita
Matashita, Ken.
Ken. San?
さん
I feel like the San is optional. I guess it. I don't know.
ケンです。どうぞよろしく。
Ken desu. Oh, I'm Ken. Nice to meet tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
また
Matashita.
明日。ナオミさん、どうぞよろしく。
Naomi. Nice to meet you. It's gonna say nice to meet you, Naomi. Yo. Look. I'm gonna translate it in the fucking order you give it to me. Because that's the
Naomi-san.
Japanese logic. I'm trying to learn the Japanese logic. Fuck you.
花ですどうぞよろしく
I'm Hannah. There's Hannah. Doyuzo Roshiku. Nice to meet you. Yeah, easy. Easy lesson. I'm ready for some new Japanese words. Even though I can't remember half of them. Alright, that is it for tonight. Tomorrow we are playing a new game. Drop. What's the word of it? Let's Steam Library so I can see. We are playing tomorrow. Drop System Breach. It is a game about hacking. I'm sure it'll go fantastic. That's a cute little another microprose game that I want to give a try. So that will be our game tomorrow, Becoming Hacker Man. And also while I'm at it, Thursday we are playing more Heavenly Bodies, and Thursday, did I say Thursday already? Wednesday is Heavenly Bodies, Thursday is more crossover Roll for Initiative. But tomorrow I will see you at this time again, 1:30 a.m. Eastern for Drop System Breach. Hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday. Take care, Fang Gang.